professional, in my case, a professional football player, you're always looking for that edge. You know, everybody's good in the NFL, so you're always looking for that competitive edge. And one of the things I could say that truly from training with you is that I found that in regards to just being more aware, and even if that's putting a name to something, and also flowing better. In my position is to defeat an opponent to get around and make a sack from a defensive end. So with you helping me, you've definitely helped me become more aware and really not necessarily have a fighting mentality, but more so go at it in a combat mentality in regards to I'm not going out there angry, riled up. I'm more going out to just defeat you as an opponent.
Now, what are some of the concepts that you've been exposed to here that are going to improve your game?
So there's so many that I can give. One of the things I would say is leverage.
Yes.
Definitely leverage, and at the same time, fighting mentality. So a lot of the times in the team we train together, you would show me how, you know, sometimes if I'm holding too hard, or I'm trying my hardest to I'm doing myself a disservice, and I'm actually being myself. So using other people's strength and momentum. I'm a defensive end. I'm 6'3", 250 pounds. And on Sundays, I go against the giants of the earth that are like 6'7", 6'8", 340 plus. And using that leverage and their strengths against them. So rather that be me not trying to lift them, but actually helping me to lift them from them being so overly aggressive and things as such.
I like it. That's excellent. So you've learned to make connections.
Yes, sir.
Now, many of these things are not just beneficial for defensive ends.
For sure. You know, I'm an expert at defensive line, but when I say even in regards to offensive line and running backs and quarterbacks and making that connection, because even again, I'm a so-called professional football player, and sometimes I would be trying to get around you, and you're not by any means you're amazing, but you're not 6'7", 340 pounds that have been trained to block your whole life.
No.
But the way that you made a connection with me, it was difficult to almost impossible to get around you, and that's from you making a connection. And so I would put that right along in stride with offensive line play, and then I'd even say in regards to DBs, because even when they're having to cover routes and they're getting long and it's all speed, there's still desire to make a connection because DBs are asked to tackle. So to close out a hip or to make that connection to have that contact, to be able to flow with the route instead of being so jagged and losing a route. So definitely a lot of application.
In high school in Colorado, you were an all-conference lacrosse player,
yes.
Correct? And where do you see this being helpful to athletes in that sport?
For us, the thing again is making that connection. And even with moves that I throw, so one of the moves you taught me and really helped me perfect is the long arm. So for me to keep an opponent at bay with my long arm and not let them get to me, but at the same time having so much energy and power from staying on my beanpole. But again, this is connection. This is an extension of myself.
Right.
So with lacrosse, having your actual lacrosse stick, being able to make that be even more an extension of yourself. But again, to make that connection, it's like putting another arm on top of an arm. So again, to make that connection within the sport, it makes all the difference. The way I should put it, like in these terms, you're not a guy out there running around with a stick.
Yes.
You're a guy going out there with another arm and make a connection with other individuals. Very seldomly are you ever the person in the sport that's the biggest, the baddest, the fastest, the most athletic, the talent. So usually, if you're going to exceed in sports, you're gonna have to find a way to level that playing field.
Yeah.
And one of the things I can honestly say that I've learned personally from working with you these last weeks is to level that playing field. And even though a guy might have me by 100 pounds or might have me by a foot in height, might be able to run circles around me with speed, I can still, through making the connection and staying on my beanpole and through techniques and things you taught me, I can level that playing field. And that's what it's all about in sports.
Beanpole. I know you only learned about this about 10 weeks ago, but people are wondering, what the hell is a beanpole? What's your understanding of beanpole? How would you explain it?
So for me, in my terms, what a beanpole is pretty much your center of gravity.
Right.
In regards to, you don't want to step off your line. So for me, if this is my beanpole, so if I get too far over here, I'm not as efficient as if I was in my beanpole, which is right here.
Right.
And what you taught me is that to try to always stay on that beanpole. If I'm running, if I'm backing up, if I'm throwing a move, if I'm trying to create leverage and eject somebody, it's all coming from that center of gravity, or what we call that bean pull. And that's if I'm 6'7" or if I'm 5'1", it's still all about that bean pull, and that's where you're most efficient.
I like it. I like it a lot. How about your use of space and your range of effectiveness?
Yes, sir.
Do you find that your movements are smaller and more precise now?
Yes, sir. The word I would use is more efficient.
More efficient.
You know, when I came to you, I was more of a ravaged dog in a meat shop. But now you've kind of fine-tuned me in regards to I'm more efficient with my movements. I'm not wasting as much time. I'm not wasting as much energy or movement. But at the same time, I'm getting the job done that much quicker and that much better, I should say, because it's efficiency. And I'm not really all over the place flamboyant with my moves, just more precise and to the point and no waste of time. And that's the name of my game.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. The whole idea of a non-fighting mind
Yes, sir.
was interesting to you when you were doing it.
Definitely.
The idea that if you have a fighting mind, you have tension.
Mm-hmm.
If you have tension, you can't move fluidly.
Yes, sir.
If you can't move fluidly, you can't get velocity and you can't
Yes,
get power.
Yes, sir.
So I loved watching you be able to make very, very quick changes by embracing that. So,
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to add to that?
I would say that I'll just give the story about how when we first started. And we just had some pads. You were just filling me out. You just asked me to snap a jab. Just snap a jab. I said, okay, yeah, I've snapped 1,000 jabs before. I could do this, no problem.
Yeah.
And as soon as I threw my first one, you could tell how uptight and how my shoulders are all, and I was like, I'm gonna try to break this guy's hand. I'm snapping this jab. I'm gonna snap this jab. And you showed me with, all right, Eddie, relax your shoulders, relax your traps, and now do the same thing. And how much quicker and also how much more power I had on the end of that punch than when I was before. And I was, oh man, I'm gonna, But now to have it, I'm relaxed, breathing, moving, and how much snap that jab was compared to what it was before. At my job at the Bills, we do this testing where it directly correlates with how much energy output you have. It's called a bar pull, you should say.
Yeah.
So you have it about above knee height, and you pull on this bar as hard as you can, and you press as much force into the ground. And there's sensors in the ground, and it tells you how much force you're generating. And so my number, I want to say, is like 4,000 pounds of force with me pulling this bar, and putting it into the ground. So we do it at the beginning, and now at the end of OTAs in camp, now we test it again to see how much you've improved in off-season. So my number to beat was like 4,100. So I get up there and I'm gonna break this bar in half. And I get on it and that's 5,000. It has to be 5,000. And I got 4,160.
Yes.
So I beat it by 60, and I was like, I know I gotta be better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I instantly remembered not to have that fighting mind, not to be so riled up, so locked up, aggressive, and rah, to be, you tell me, fix your face, relax your face. So next time I went down, I got on it, relaxed. I'm just gonna pull this bar. I don't want to hurt this guy. I don't want to hurt this bar. I'm just gonna late to the bus.
Make a connection.
I'm gonna make a connection
with the earth and just pull up.
And stay on my bean pole. Man, I was like, and I instantly thought of you. I was like, all right, let's do this again. All right, you got it, man. Relax, fix your face. Hey, just take a walk in the park. Pull that bar. All right, that's enough. Got 4,600.
Nice.
So like 600 pounds. So
Beautiful.
Initially, that's just, even in that 10 weeks and as before, it's direct correlation from training with you and then after training with you. So definitely kudos to you.
Kudos to you. You did it, not me.
Yes, sir.
You get all the credit. I was holding a map. But you, brother, were driving the car.
Yes,
you were
sir.
driving the car. It's been a great pleasure playing with you and talking with you.
I appreciate it. No, thanks for the time.
Yeah.